Well, odd question, but should I scrap this EV? This car is a Mitsubishi IMEV. It's 14 years old. It fully works. You can get in it, drive it. It's actually got 10 months MOT. The downside is that over those 14 years, the batteries have degraded a fair bit. I mean, these were an early EV. This one was actually a sort of company like hire, kind of like a plant hire company, sort of pool car or hire car, something like that. After I think being a sort of Mitsubishi demonstrator for a year, and then it was a hire one. It had a few issues. They have a few common issues. These I fixed loads of them. People love them. The range is a bit of an issue on them. The heaters are quite basic, so that really hits the range in the winter. And I know a couple of people who need parts for these because they're not easy to come by. But do I break it? What do I do with it? I mean, just to show you inside, yes, very nice. Yeah, nice inside. Needs valeting. Quite basic, but we can fire it up. Old tech, got a proper key. Yeah. So I got damp hands. It's a bit rainy today. There you go. Starts. It's done 28,000 miles, just over. Oh, turn it off. Yeah, it's got just under half a battery. But the downside of this car, if we go back to the range, it's got 23 miles range. We've got 6 blobs there. That does go up to 16. So let's do the math, showing maybe 50 miles. The downside with this car, it's got an incredibly basic heater in it. It's effectively got a 5 kilowatt heating element in a box, and then it's got a water loop for the cabin heating, because these cars were originally petrol cars, the Mitsubishi I, and then they sort of did an original conversion, Mitsubishi approved conversion. So if you watch the range, it basically, when you turn the heater on, it turns on the 5 kilowatt kettle, and then it presumes kettle box, and then it presumes you're going to keep that on for the rest of your journey, irrespective of whether it's like here or right over here. But if I whack it on and then turn the blower on, you'll see that basically, yeah, so it's gone down to 19. I mean, yeah, that's the real downside of this car. Fully charge it, yeah, it thinks maybe around 50 miles. You can't really arrive home or to a charger with 0, so you got to knock a bit off for a buffer. To be fair, on this car, the brakes grab a bit. If I turn that off, it pings straight back. So weird. Yeah, and the brakes are a little bit grabby, so if they were cleaned up, stripped and greased, and just with a bit more usage of using the brakes, the range may improve a little bit, but it's not going to be amazing, especially in the winter. But I think they're great little cars, great little town cars, but I'm really torn because there's a couple of people who need parts. I mean, it's really nice in here. It's only done 28,000 miles. Seats are in really good condition, really good overall. Back's really nice. And what do you do with it? I sort of bought this car, featured in some previous videos. I basically bought it because I knew I could fix it, and it was 14 years old. And just to prove that old EVs are fixable, basically, these are great cars. My first EV was one of these. It was a car I fixed. I basically worked on an electric quad, an electric motorbike, and then bought a broken electric car. And it was a Mitsubishi IMEV, and it was actually newer than this one, ironically. It was an 11 plate. And I subsequently actually bought that car back again when it failed about 3 years later. But unfortunately, it was just needed far too much work at that time. They do suffer a little bit with corrosion, these cars. That's the other thing that kills them. So it's a little bit damp, but sort of front suspension on this is a little bit corroded. Particularly under the rear. I don't want to get soaking wet, but if we just look, you know, yeah, it's all a bit exposed. It's all a bit, you know, well, it's made for warmer climates, I think. But yeah, but it's got its MOT. Literally, the tyres are really good. You can drive this car. I actually lent it to a garage that I know, that I've helped out with a few EV things, and said, do you want it as a courtesy car? And they said, well, to be honest, if you whack the heater on and the range goes down to sort of 40 miles, is it enough? You know, you have to plug it in all the time. You know, you leave it plugged in. That's not great for the battery as well, for it to be full. But these have got CHAdeMO rapid charging. I mean, this is 2010. is pretty cool. They're fantastic cars. So they've got one chargey lever there and one there. So it's got type 1, because that's sort of Japanese standard, early Leafs and just kind of early EVs really. So you've got your type 1, and you've got your Chademo. Oh yeah. And these cars had 14.5 kilowatt hours. Oh yeah. You know, they don't weigh a lot, about the same as a packet of crisps. If you get a broken one, you can push them around by yourself. It's fantastic. It's got both cables with it. But yeah, I had a call from a garage a couple of days ago. They need a heater box for one of these because the car won't start because it's got a fault in the heater box. A lady needs an onboard charger for one because I was trying to fix her onboard charger, but it's not fixable. But it's like, should you break and scrap a perfectly working EV, even if the range is a bit limited? Surely that's useful. Or is it the end of its useful life? What do you think? I don't know. I don't know what it's worth. I kind of got it through an MOT. I love it. It's fantastic. I think these cars are great. There is a couple of companies who do bigger batteries for them, but quite expensive. You sort of end up spending £5 on batteries, you know, whereas you could buy a Zoe or something for, you know, for £5 plus whatever this is worth. I don't know. Let me know what you think. It's a perfectly working EV. But does anybody want it? That's the question, right? Catch you later. Cheers.